Hey guys, I get asked all the time, should I collab or not? Somebody gets hit up in their DMs, they get hit up on one of their social platforms, they get an email, they get a phone call, whatever. And the incoming is, hey, I love what you're doing. I love the collab. Now, if you've seen on a lot of your posts as an indie artist, you might post something and instantly you're getting like, hey, promote this, or let's collab, DM here, whatever. There's a lot of just junk spam sort of opportunities out there. There's a lot of scams out there. So one of the first things I want you to do when you think about whether you should collab or not is distinguish that collaborating does not mean making stupid decisions and just falling into scams or traps that are designed to trap you. So collaborations, whether or not you should do them, is sort of a business decision. It's an artistic decision. It's not like, hey, I got hit up on a DM. Should I say yes? Well, saying yes does like you don't make a stupid decision just because somebody asks you to do something. You have to first vet it. So we're going to start there. What do you do when you get asked to collab? What do you do when you want to collab? Like when you think about collaborations, the first thing you do is vet the opportunity, vet the situation, vet what you're even being asked to do or what you want to do. So when you're going to ask the question, do I want to collaborate? Either the incoming request or you want to reach out to somebody, vet the whole thing. Look at it. Where did this come from? Is this a trusted source? When you get like hit up on your Instagram post or something like that, and it's like, hey, let's collab, DM me. Are they even a legit, like, do you know who this person is? Are they legit? Do they have a following? Do they have a track record or history of collaborating where there's been successful outcomes? Or is it just sort of some random, a lot of times you'll see it's like digital marketers and they're just like looking for, you don't even know what they're looking for, right? And you look at this and you're like, so you always start with vetting the opportunity. Never ask like whether you should or you shouldn't in terms of artistic decision, financial decision, business decision before you vet the opportunity. So burn that into your head. Should I collaborate with this person? Vet it first. How do you vet it? A lot of different questions. Like I'll have clients that'll be like, hey, I got hit up on, my private messages on one of these platforms. What do I do? Simple stuff, logical stuff, common sense stuff. Click on, don't just click on random links, but if you can click on a profile, look at the profile. Does this look like an artist? Like if you click on it and it's like, wow, they have 37,000 followers. They've been putting out music for 7 years. Like I could see their genre. I could see other things that they've done. That may tell you a lot. Not to say you can't be scammed in that way also, but that sends a very different message than you click on it and it's like, random like just memes or it looks like they started their page like 1 week ago or something, their account was set up a week ago. That's the kind of stuff that's telltale, like, okay, this is probably not legit. Do we know what they're asking? I have no idea. It could be a financial scam. It could be an artistic scam. It might just be to a bot that's just trying to generate followers on a particular platform so then they can sell that to somebody else as a list or, who knows what. I don't want to go down all the rabbit trails. My point is when you start to vet these opportunities, you're going to realize that legitimate collaboration opportunities tend to have a look and feel that is legitimate. Ones that are not legitimate tend to have a look and feel that's not legitimate. They look like, well, this seems like a total scam. If it looks like a scam, it probably is a scam. I mean, I could tell you in my law practice had nothing to do with music, but many years ago, probably 18 years ago, I had a business out of Europe reach out to me. We need you, all the stuff. And I thought it was a scam. Long story short, it wasn't. And it was a very good client, a very big client, one that I never expected to get. But everything about it sent the message, this is a scam, all this, I'm a solo practitioner. They're a huge company, like all this stuff. At the end of the day, sometimes collaboration inquiries will come from like, wow, I didn't see that coming. If you got a DM from Drake or Ariana Grande or Ed Sheeran or whatever, and your instinct is like, this couldn't possibly be. You never know. It could be. But trust your gut. If it looks like a scam, it probably is a scam. If it feels legit and it looks legit, the things you're kind of looking for are their pages, their profiles. Does this look like it's been around? Does this look like this is actually the person who reached out to me? Does it look like they've done this kind of thing before? Does it seem successful? So that's part of the vetting process. Once you've vetted it and you say, okay, doesn't mean I say yes to it. I at least jump into the next question is, okay, I vetted it. I feel like it's probably legit. Now, do I want to do it? Business decision, art decision. I would say focus on those two first. From a business well, maybe from an art standpoint, if you are a pop artist or you're a country artist and a rapper reaches out to you, do you say no? Do you say yes? Is part of that art decision like, well, they're not in my genre, so the answer is no. You know, think about it. This is a random example, but think about, you know, Eminem when he had Dido in his song, and there have been plenty of examples like that. That for some reason I just have a blank blank on other examples, but you know, sometimes, yeah, you can have a pop artist that collaborates with a rap artist and it's amazing. You can have a country artist that collaborates with a metal artist and it might be amazing. I've yet to hear that one, but my point is that don't disregard it just because it's not your genre, it's not your look and feel, it seems so out of left field. Because part of art, as you should know as an artist, is that art doesn't always stay in the boundaries. It doesn't always look what's expected. Part of the beauty of art is that we tend to think outside the box and we want to do things differently. So when you evaluate a collaboration opportunity from an art perspective, think about, is this consistent with what I'm trying to build? Not so much is it consistent with my genre or things like that, but is this where I'm going? I had a conversation with an artist yesterday. Does jazz, does rap, or when I say does, experiments with jazz, experiments with rap, experiments with pop, experiments with visual, like multimedia type of stuff. So in a way, you can say this guy's all over the place. But in another way, you say this guy's just breaking the boundaries of creativity and saying, you know, like Tyler, the Creator or something, like, I'm going to create whatever I want to create. My fans will sort of find me and I'll find my fans. So in the artistic, the vetting process of artistically, do I want to collaborate? Think about, is it consistent with you, your art, your genre? And if the answer is yes, that still doesn't mean it's the right choice. But if the answer is no, I'm just encouraging you to step back and say, but could it make sense? Could it make sense to work with somebody that's a completely different genre or completely different culture or language or whatever? You know, what happens if we put an English language pop song with Korean? Well, K-pop does it all the time. So there's like a lot of different examples and precedent for where collaborations of really drastically different forms of art or genres or whatever come together, and it's beautiful. So as you evaluate it, my key for you is to think artistically, is this consistent with me? If it's not, would it still be consistent with what I'm trying to build? There's a complete difference between those things and this is nothing like who I am, and I'm definitely not going that direction. I do not want to collaborate with somebody that does blank. I don't want to insult anybody, but whatever that is, I don't want to do that. Well, then don't do it. It's a simple answer. So then that may be your no. You shouldn't collaborate. But if you're still sort of a yes, okay, it's consistent with my art, or hey, I could see a beautiful thing coming from this collaboration, then you want to look at the business dynamics. Now, business dynamics come in multiple flavors. It's like a Neapolitan, you know, shake or ice cream or whatever, where you have business considerations, generic business. You have legal considerations. You have financial considerations, royalty considerations. You have even sort of networking considerations. So I'm going to break down some of these. So for example, if the collaboration puts you into an environment that you've always wanted to jump into with certain songwriters or certain producers, that may be reason enough. Even if it's slightly off base artistically, you're like, man, but I've always wanted to work with this group of people. This gets a foot in the door. Business-wise, it makes sense. You know, if the collaboration is, hey, pay us $5,000 and you can collaborate, that may not be a collaboration. That just may be a sell for you to pay somebody to produce you or whatever. Collaborations tend not to be, hey, pay me money and we'll do this together. Collaborations tend to be, let's both take a risk and both hope for a reward. That tends to be the true nature of collaboration. Not to say it can't happen outside of those bounds, but if you're being asked to pay something to collaborate, you're probably not collaborating. You're just being sold a product or a service. Look at the legal dynamics. If, for example, if, hey, we're going to collaborate, but by the way, I'm going to own all the copyrights, probably not a collaboration. Or, hey, I'm not going to own all the copyrights, but I'll have first release rights for whatever we do. Now, that could be a collaboration. That's not necessarily problematic. I've seen and I've worked on deals all the time, actually, over many years, where the collaboration came together, but we knew going in that this party was going to have first release rights, but it was still co-owned IP and all that kind of stuff. So when you factor that in, that could be great. Switching gears to sort of the economics of collaboration, part of what gives you that gut instinct, this is truly a collaboration, and artistically, if it checks the boxes for it makes sense to you, is if there's a shared risk and a shared potential reward. If it's not shared, and you could see the risk on one side or the other, it's not equally balanced, then it's probably not a collaboration. Now, that doesn't mean it's a bad opportunity. So a producer comes to you, hey, I love what you're doing, let's collab. And you're like, awesome, I've always wanted to work with this producer, or hey, I didn't even know they would be interested in me, but I'd love to work with them. And then the next thing they do is they hit you with, yeah, just $5,000 per track. We can work in my studio, and then I'll release it. I'll be in charge. So as you're reading through all that, you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Well, technically speaking, that's probably not a collaboration. Certainly not in the traditional sense that we view a collaboration. But it doesn't mean it's not a bad business opportunity. If that producer you can get some mileage working with that producer, and the finances make sense, I threw out $5,000 per track, maybe way over budget. You may be used to spending $5,000 for 10 tracks, and you're like, that's crazy, I couldn't possibly do it. You might have a wealthy benefactor or be wealthy yourself, and $5,000 a track is just right in your wheelhouse, and working with this producer would be awesome. Just change your mindset. Okay, we're not collaborating. We can call it collaboration. I don't want to get hung up on what we call it, but don't misname something, because it starts to establish perspectives on what things are supposed to look like and what they're not. When somebody wants to work with you and they want you to pay them, it's not bad. It's just not necessarily a collaboration. I can say as a lawyer, representing an artist, hey, let's collaborate. Really what I'm saying is, I want you as my client. Pay me and I will serve you, right? That's not a collaboration, or it is, depending on your perspective, right? So my point is, call it what it is. I think it'll be healthier for you. I think it'll be healthier for the relationship. So if you do get that producer that says, hey, awesome, let's collab, and $5,000 per track, and let's do 3 tracks and see where it goes, and I got all these contacts, so let's pitch, and I'll be in control of the pitches. Don't just say no. Look at the thing as a business transaction. Say, is this opportunity? So switch your frame of reference to forget collab. Just, is this opportunity? Does it make sense for me? If I can afford it, would I get the mileage out of this potential? Is the risk worth the reward? Is putting up 15 grand or whatever the price point is worth the potential? If this person says, hey, I'm really good at what I do, but I have no contacts, then maybe it's not worth it. But if they say, hey, I'm literally like best friends or housemates with the president or of our A&R head at Warner or something like that, then maybe it does make sense. So you're evaluating all those different pieces. But at the end of the day, a lot of times, what I see, especially with indie artists, is just these random sort of like, okay, it's easy if it's a well-known producer. It's easy if it's like another artist that has an established platform. I think by far the more difficult decisions are centered on, I don't even know who this person is, and they kind of seem like they're in the same boat as me. If you are a country artist with 200, 2,000, maybe even 20,000 fans on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and you get hit up to collaborate with somebody that's basically the same as you, in my mind, this is just one person's opinion. I'm a professional, obviously, but it's just my opinion. That may not be the best collaboration, because you're tapping into the same audience, but really they're getting access to yours and then competing with you for your established fans. Now, ironically, you can do the same to them, but I don't know that that's going to get you the mileage that you think out of a collaboration. So collaborations that do make sense when both people are sort of starting out or don't have a base or they don't have money or they don't have fans or whatever, tend to make more sense when there's distinguishable fan bases or access groups. So, hey, you're in California, I'm in the East Coast, but we're in the same genre. Well, you may have never had access to East Coast fans, so that might make sense. But if you're both in the LA area or you're both in Manhattan and you're like, hey, we do the same genre, we have about the same number of followers, and we're both in Manhattan, like that probably is not a wise collaboration. But where you can get into somebody else's audience and not compete with your own against that person you just collaborated with, that can make sense. So these are the types of things you need to process through. At the end of the day, I would say, I've been in this business a very long time. Collaborations 20 years ago was kind of like specific relational, specific business dynamics or a goal in mind. Today, I think collaborations are the thing. Like everybody's collaborating. You'll hear everybody on everybody else's project, right? And that's kind of what you want. And so part of it is just being relevant, and like collaborations are a thing right now. So why not collaborate? You're a part of that thing. The other piece of it is you're tapping audiences that you don't have. So anytime you collaborate, you're always like cross-pollinating audiences, which is, unless you're competing against yourself, that tends to be a good thing. So philosophically, go into collaboration questions as it could be good, right? Assess the business dynamics, assess the legal, assess the art, assess the just the placement. Where does this put me if I collaborate? Does this make me better off or exactly where I am? If the answer is yes, 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 and yes, try it. But when you try it, make sure you protect yourself. Collaborations are haywire for opportunities to exploit people, exploit artists that just don't know what they're doing. So when you go into collaborations and go into the other videos that I have, the other content I have about just making better legal decisions, contracts and what they say and what they don't say and what they should say, licenses, all that kind of stuff. You want to dig in deep, because what you don't want to get caught into is an amazing collaboration opportunity and you get screwed simply because you just didn't look out for yourself. They had the better contract. They had a lawyer. They had a manager. They had better advice. They just had more experience. Whatever it is, you're at a disadvantage. So part of my goal with this channel, with everything I do, is to position you where you're not going to be taken advantage of, because your knowledge base is so much stronger as you go through all these different pieces of content. You learn more about how to protect yourself, how to maximize your exposure, all that sort of thing. So that's what you need to do. When you say yes to a collaboration, you need to make sure that what you're saying yes to is accurate, that it's documented, and that you're protected within that documentation. So watch the other videos where I talk about those 3 items. But for now, collaborate right away. Like, go look for it. Go send out some requests to collaborate. Watch for opportunities to collaborate. Look at other people that you could be collaborating with and take a chance and just kill your ego and like, hey, don't be insecure about it. They might say no. They might laugh in your face, but try, ask. Collaborations are a good thing right now. So go after those.